From the opening second to the last frame, I gotta tell you something, man. Invisible Man kept me in fear, meaning I was living through Elisabeth Moss and her fear, constantly having to look over her back, thinking something's going on. Something not right here. You see, in the opening of the film, she's already showing you how she just can't move without fearing that Adrian, her boyfriend, is going to wake up. She tries to escape. That doesn't work. She escapes him with the help of her sister, but then apparently he commits suicide, given a fortune in a will, 5 million, 100,000 every month until it's paid off, but she can't get arrested. She can't, be in trouble like that, or else it'll stop. And throughout the entire film, it's like you're feeling that. You're feeling her pain, her anguish. And when she realizes that he is alive and is doing so through a truly advanced type of a suit. It looks like it has cameras all around it, and all these little pockets. And she's living with her childhood friend James, has a daughter named Sydney, her sister is Emily. And from beyond the grave, it seems this individual, Adrian, is ruining her life. Sends her sister an email saying that she wishes she were dead and she was never born and all that stuff. Just real, just awful stuff. And then he starts playing games with her, mind games with her, planting a cell phone in an attic, threatening those around her. Even goes to the point of unfortunately killing her sister, and she ends up being framed. And then the cycle ward, I guess that's what it was. She was still not able to shake him off. He's there somehow. They didn't show that. They didn't show how he was able to penetrate buildings and get into there, but I guess the suit did that. They just didn't show it. But of course, what else would be, definitely be capable for him to do that? He's able to get out of there, but only after, Adrian shows up again in the suit. But this time, the suit is rendered kind of useless, and all of a sudden now you see all of the guards in there. They start seeing this other figure show up. You can see him partially. So you know that in their mind, they see something. It's definitely not her. Especially the one guy, the last guy, I believe it was inside the building that turned around. So he knew there was somebody there. And unfortunately, there's a number of the guards that got killed. Some of them were just injured. Some of them knocked out. And then he then proceeds to threaten her while she's outside in the rain, coming down hard after she gets out of the building. And he's saying that if you don't, come back to him, have the baby, can hurt someone close to you. And he's insinuating and alluding to Sydney hurting her. He's able to get away. She is able to commandeer a car, and she calls James and tells him get to the house quick because Adrian's threatening your daughter. She gets there. When he gets there, you already see Sydney being threatened, being choked. And when James gets in there, he's knocked out, beaten up pretty brutally. And then when she gets there, she's able to get a gun. Elisabeth Moss is able to get there. Her character is able to get there. And she ends up shooting him drops him, drops dead. Now you're thinking that Cecilia is going to, after uncovering him, it's going to be Adrian, but it ends up being Tom, a lawyer brother of Adrian, who said pretty much that he was victimized himself. So he has something in common with Cecilia, but it ends up this guy was the one in the suit. After all, can I say that he was always in that suit? Because Cecilia didn't believe that. She even told James, after James said, number of witnesses and all those guards and all those guys that saw that they saw something unusual pretty much can say that it wasn't her. So she had that word from them and that she probably was going to have the charges dropped. And unfortunately, the one who was pretty much the killer of her daughter and all these other guards and all these other innocent people is dead himself. Now, she's being talked to by James later on, the precinct, and pretty much said that, hey, just drop it, you don't have to worry about it. There's a lot of people here that can corroborate your story. You don't need to worry. But she says as long as she feels that Adrian is alive, because Adrian was found in the basement, walled up. He was tied up, beaten up, and everything. And she was pretty much saying, oh, he can easily fake a kidnapping. I don't believe it. Now, we then see the ending scene where she's sitting with him and looking to talk to Adrian, maybe even mending their relationship, allowing him to be a part of their unborn child's life. But she says, you can't lie. You can't lie. But he's saying that he insists has nothing to do with it. He wasn't involved in any way, that it was all his brother, but she don't believe him. Now she gets emotional, starts crying because he's being unreasonable to her, not admitting. So what does she do? She's like, I need to go to the bathroom and clean up. She was crying. She was a mess. So she's there, I don't know how long, maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes. All of a sudden, you see Adrian's eyes kind of look like they changed back to how he was. Like, it wasn't that guy who was so, just in love with her. His eyes were so like just into her being now part of her life. He wants to be a good guy now, but then you see the change in his eyes. He kind of looks like he's going to begin to do something, like he's back to his old self. Because, it's like you can never change these guys. It's got people that are like him, they're never going to change. They can say it. It's like abusive relationships, and that's what this thing really, it definitely showcased that. What happens when a woman is abused, constantly controlled by her boyfriend, husband, her lover, whomever, right? And all of a sudden you see the knife hovering right in front of him, just like it did with Emily and her sister before Emily's throat was slit. And in this case, Adrian's throat gets slit. Now he drops to the floor. The knife drops right next to him. And Emily comes in, or not Emily, Cecilia comes in, and she starts screaming. Oh no, she starts screaming. She calls 911, says that her boyfriend, I don't know how she, I forgot how she, how she described him. I said that he tried to kill himself. Please come, she backs up. Now all along you see a camera on the side filming the vantage point of Adrian. She backs up, and as soon as she backs out of frame, that her normal face comes into frame. She's looks normal, looks like herself. She's not at all hysterical like she was on the phone. And before Adrian said something to her, he said that he wasn't surprised by what she said. There's something that she had said or something she had done, and he said, I'm not surprised. And that kind of clicked something in her head. It was something like she knew that when his tone of voice was like that, when he said that, that means that he hadn't changed, that he definitely has something to do with everything that was happening to her. So she kind of is out of frame still, and she looks right at him as he's about to take his last breath, blood just coming out of his throat. He's dying, and she goes, surprise. Says surprise right back at him, and you see him die. Now James is outside, and James was already on his way in because he heard that this dispatch had said that, hey, we have the 911 call. So he was alarmed. He had heard her, and so comes rushing in, and he's coming rushing in, and here's Celia with her bag, and along with her is her dog Zeus, or maybe it was Adrian's dog Zeus, or maybe both their dogs Zeus. And he stops her and pretty much says, "You weren't going to try to get a confession out of her, were you?" And he already knows. He has a feeling that she did have something to do with it, but then what was a confirmation was that he looked down at the open bag there, and there was an extra suit that she had actually hid in the house for later on to use. So she apparently put the suit on, was invisible, and slit his throat. And of course, because of the camera, she even said he killed himself. You have proof, it's on camera. James knew that she killed him, but what do you think? She said. What do you think happened here? And he goes, I think he killed himself. And then she walks off, and as you see her walking, after like a few seconds, you see a look of relief on her face, and she's relieved. Adrian's out of her life. Pretty much gets away with murder, but then do you blame her? You blame her because of the fact that the girl was abused all that time. Who knows if he put his brother up to it, because he can control his brother too, because he probably put his brother up to it. His brother felt, or maybe he has something on his brother and said, if you don't do this for me. Or it could have easily have been the last time that you saw the person in the suit. It was his brother, but the previous times before was him. So, and it's funny because when she was in the house before, you didn't hear him. Think about it. You didn't hear him yell out for help. She was in the house before, when he was apparently gone, killed, and ashes in a fucking urn, So very well, she was probably right on about it, that he was the one doing everything else, but then the last time it was the brother, so that he could be in the walled in, and pretend to be a victim, someone who was, how long passed away? Passed away. How much time was elapsed while he supposedly was walled in and he was kidnapped, tied up, and everything. So you know that there was something there. So he probably had everything to do with it. His brother was the only one at the end. Oh, that's the only time that he was in that suit, was at the end. And he just ended up getting killed. Probably didn't expect that to happen, but it happened. But, well, that was a movie in a nutshell. But like I said, great pacing. The pacing was just great. I was into the movie like an hour and 30 minutes, I would say, because the movie was 2 hours and 4 minutes. And it felt like only 30 minutes went by. It was so well paced. It wasn't boring at all. Elisabeth Moss is an amazing actress, and this came out in February. And I don't know, sometimes the Academy has a real short attention span. The only time that they ever really acknowledged somebody for a performance that was that way back that I can remember was Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs came out in February, and the following year the Academy, remembered the performances, and the movie won all like the top 4, Academy Awards for picture, best picture, best director, actor, and actress. And this is for a movie that was months way in the past that it came out, and she could definitely be up for some nominations. I mean, I don't know, a lot of the award shows have already come out, but maybe it'll be available, eligible for next year, because she really carried the movie. The majority of it was just her, and she was able to, through her emotions, through her her just living the fear through her, she was able to take an audience, like she had me fearing too. Like I'm in fear that the invisible man is after me. You know what I mean? That's how good of an actress she was, that she took you on that journey of hers where she was just in fear all the time. Even when a person is she's supposedly dead, she still had fear. So I'm sure that a lot of people out there can identify with this because they probably were in the same kind of a relationship. So they definitely rooted for her. And it's amazing just how the film was done. It was well acted. Everybody did a great job. The cinematography, like, well, not in the sense of the what you see on the screen, in the sense of the locations and all that stuff, but just the way that the cameraman was able to capture like the emotion through the camera. It's like so many things that made you feel every inch of the movie, every fear that she had, her emotions, everything. It's really a great way to not only to capture the actress, you know, and what she's going through, but then the everything around her, capturing an atmosphere and setting that, and that being the whole thing, that being the whole film. So I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Probably one of the best modern day takes of, the Invisible Man. It's been done a number of times before, from the original to, you had the Hollow Man, and you had it's a bunch of others that really, they're pretty well done. Hollow Man was a take on it, and it was great. But every, you know, I don't think that there's ever been a real bad one, but maybe it's just because I haven't watched the bad ones. The ones I've seen when it comes to The Invisible Man, an original H.G. Wells story, was well done, and this was really good. I'd say that this movie could easily be best actor, best actress for her, best picture, best director. It could cinematography, music. I mean, everything was just perfect in this film. And like I said, I enjoyed it very much. And the pacing, the just the way it looked, the atmosphere, being able to be put in her world and feel every emotion. That's really great filmmaking. But anyway, that's my thoughts on The Invisible Man 2020. The newest version, the newest take on this classic story, the classic film of years past. And those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. And in closing in, as always, take care. Please remember to subscribe, click like, and click the bell icon for all notifications on this channel.